Welcome to the Springs in the Desert podcast. We're those friends that you can take with you wherever you are on the path of infertility. Hey there, Springs in the Desert. I'm Jillian, your host, and I am joined today by my lovely teammate, Katie Summers. How are you today, Katie?
I'm doing great, Jillian. Thanks.
Listeners, we are recording in the wee hours of the morning because that just happened to be when we had time to carve out some time to talk to you and to talk about, I think, really a timely topic, not just because of the season, but I think in the mornings, I'm reminded of some of those precious moments. And one of those is Christ coming, Christmas. And so we're going to today talk a little bit about Advent, how you can prepare with your spouse, and maybe some traditions that you could either start or just thinking about those traditions that are really important and memorable to you. So, Katie, it's Advent. I feel like it came really quickly this year because Thanksgiving was so late. And I would bet that there are some listeners who were way ahead of the game and had plans for Advent. I wanted to make plans for Advent, but it was an Advent and I didn't have my plans for Advent.
Yes. No, it's so fair. I think it was hard just coming back from Thanksgiving. It's, bam, first Sunday of Advent, Thanksgiving weekend. So
yes. So then I'm also guessing that there are some listeners who are like me and had intentions to have a plan, but didn't get there in time. But that's okay. We can start preparing at any time. And it doesn't have to be like a regimented, although that's really great and beautiful. And I've done that many Lents to have like a consistent prayer routine. But what are you doing for Advent, Katie? What are some of the practices that you like to incorporate into your Advent preparations?
yeah. So I usually try to pick like an extra prayer routine or element to add, and also like to do some reading that's appropriate. So this year that's looking praying morning prayer together with Matthew before we head off to work, and renewing our Marian consecration, rereading that great book by Father Gately. So
that's so fun.
So that's why I'm awake.
Well, I did not pray morning prayer yet. But I am awakened now. I am encouraged to do so. Listeners, for those who don't know, I am a night owl. I like to stay up late. That's when that's when I wrote all my papers in college. It's when I have the best conversations, the best ideas. Is nighttime. Morning time, not the grace isn't quite there for me yet. But I love that idea, Katie, of just incorporating a simple prayer with your spouse. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. I think it could even be as simple as just praying a glory be with your spouse in the morning, that your whole day is just given over to God and that you're aware that He is with you and doing so many things for you and by your side. But I think it can also be really beautiful gift of the church, like morning prayer is so great, or a morning offering, or whatever it is that God is placing on your heart. But I also like your suggestion, Katie, of diving a little bit deeper with some readings. If that's something that someone has space for, there, oh my gosh, are a plethora of resources that someone could read. You could definitely read the story of a saint. I like to read the Gospels during Advent. I might pick sections and read them across the Gospels so that I can see what God is trying to say with that particular scene and portion of the life of Christ. But right there are simple things. There may be a little bit more routine or not complex. It's not complicated, but just a little bit more effort. And I know it's only a few days into Lent, but I'm curious, Katie, about that time together with Matthew. I would imagine that becomes a coveted time in the morning, a really precious moment to connect. What's that like for you?
Yeah, I love mornings, but I don't usually get up super early. So part of this was me saying, I'm going to get up early enough that we can actually pray together and I'm going to be awake for it. So it's really beautiful to have those moments, like you said, to connect with your spouse before you're running separate ways throughout the day. And it also gives me time to have quiet before I'm rushing off to my next obligation. And I don't always realize how much I need that time, but I think mornings are a great time of silence for me when you have a small family or just you and your spouse. And silence and Advent to me are really linked together. And so having that extra time of silence in my day has been like I feel like one of the best parts of what I'm doing this Advent, just the simple fact of having the quiet and being like, well, sometimes I'm tempted to think that quiet is empty or lonely, but I know that the Lord speaks to us in the quiet. And so I don't have to feel like, oh, I'm home alone in a quiet house, but I'm here and the Lord is present to me and I can be present to him.
Wow. That is so beautiful, Katie. I'm so glad that you said that, because I can absolutely resonate with that feeling. And I'm sure a lot of people in the community can too. And I think Advent is a time to let God flip the script, just like giving him all of those things, that quiet house. I know there's a lot of traditions that I did when I was younger that I like consistently mourn not being able to do, or not in the ways that I was hoping or expected to do. And just giving those to him and letting him rewrite that and like showing a new possibility for that. I remember this is even as a simple, I remember my mom always celebrated St. Nick's Day, a really intentional way. She always made sure to get little gifts for everyone. And when I got married, and for the first several years, especially after losing two to miscarriage, I felt like I couldn't celebrate it. I didn't have these little people in my home to be able to celebrate. And I gave that to God, and he said, hey, you have a spouse, you could surprise him. And sometimes you just need that reminder. You are a family. Like, you as a couple exist beautifully, and God wants you to enter into the liturgical life as you are. And there's so many ways to do that. But sometimes when we're mourning or grieving, or maybe struggling with something in particular, that the cross feels heavy in a particular way, that to God in Advent, I feel like he has really just brought so many beautiful consolations and comforts in the Advent season. He feels particularly close. Listeners, if you are watching the video, you will see that Katie has an Advent wreath in the back of, I'm in my basement, and so I just have a wall behind me. But I want to dive a little bit into like physically, like how do you and Matthew prepare your home? What are some ways that perhaps couples could not only enter into the season of Advent, but prepare their homes for Christ to come in Christmas?
Yeah, I love decorating. And what you were saying at first, when we weren't having littles, I was like, oh, what does it matter if I decorate or not? Do we really care? But it's been really freeing to be like, no, like you said, you and your spouse are still a beautiful family and you should still enter into it. So I like for Advent to clear away all of my fall decorations that I had out and go simplify it and just take out our Advent wreath. And then I have this cradle for the Christ child that I put out, but I leave baby Jesus out of it till Christmas morning. And then we also have some beautiful handmade Advent calendars that Matthew's mom made. And so we like to hang those up and open them every day. And so I try to be intentional about having this middle space of not all the Christmas decorations out yet. I know different people enjoy different things, but for me, it makes me stir up that like longing and hope of the fullness. Whereas if I just let myself put it all out now, then I wouldn't enter into that hoping as much. So we have the Advent wreath and the empty cradle waiting for baby Jesus. So
I love that idea of holding that space. And I was just talking about my mom, and if she could have the Christmas tree up year round, she would. She just loves decorating. She loved having Christmas out for as long as possible. She would hold my dad off by putting the tree away for as long as she could. But and there are a lot of different ways to decorate, and I think that's a beautiful idea of just a way to give Advent time to breathe and to resonate in your home. And I love the idea of clearing away. I do too. I sometimes, even if I'm not replacing it with something, just like taking things down and having a bit of a barrenness that I just want it to look a little bit stark, like just to clear. I'm a person who like visual clutter can give me a little bit of anxiety, and I just need to put it away and just come into our home. And there's not much on the walls, and in North Dakota, it snows a lot, so you might just see snow outside, and it's just more simple. I like that idea. But I think if someone is more, no, I like to decorate, I would like to have a lot up, I think there are ways to do that too, and to point, whether that's sacred art that's pointing to the nativity. I love the idea of having a manger or the creche out that's empty, and just doing things that are still, pointing you wherever you're looking to what's coming. I think that can be done in really beautiful ways. So then, Katie, when do you start adding Christmas details, or what does that look like for you?
Honestly, for us, we usually like to do it on the third Sunday of Advent, on Give Day Taste Sunday. So I know that's really late for some people, but it's worked for us. And I think it's like one of those things of creating traditions for you and your husband. And it doesn't have to be like his family would sometimes put it up way later, and my family is putting it up the day after Thanksgiving. And so it was nice to find something that was us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's fun to finally get the decorations out and be like, oh, it's so soon, it's coming.
I think that's an excellent Sunday to do it, right? Like, we have the rose-colored candle that's reminding us of this joy that's about to exude throughout the whole church. And so to take a moment to put that candle in your home, to put that joy, and to know that there's still some time to prepare, but to I think enter into that life of the church, what's happening that day. That's a really beautiful idea. And I think I might adapt to that, because I am a fairly organized person, but I feel like the last couple years, liturgical living has been difficult for me to get into. I was in parish life for a long time, and so I was doing the liturgical living for other people. I was preparing it for them, and I'm no longer in the parish, and so there's a little bit of a distance. Like, I really have to pay attention to where we are at in the cycle of the church, because I can forget, and then I go to Mass, and I know it's Advent, but I don't know it's Advent.
It's not every day the top of your mind like it was when you were working at the church. Yeah.
And I think that's, Katie, your sort of that timeline is great too, because even if you're like me and you're just a little bit behind the 8 ball, it's not that Advent is still here. Jesus is still coming, and we can enter into that any day, any moment, even if it's just talking about silence, just taking a few moments of silence in your own heart throughout the day. If you don't maybe particularly have a lot of silence available to you. I was also thinking this might be a fun idea for someone who is maybe a little bit busier, but wanting to carve out some special time. My husband and I, at the end of every year, I know this is post-Christmas, but we go on a dream date, and we just dream about the next year. Maybe we'll have a podcast about that. I don't think we've talked about that yet, but we just talk about the next year and our dreams and our goals. And it's a long date, but we both know that. And it's just fun. It's fun, but also business-like, an opportunity to just share things that you don't have a lot of time maybe to share in other settings. And I think for someone who's just looking for, I just need something special to do for Advent, I think you could go on a dream date with God. I think you could just schedule a holy hour, and it could just be one. Like, you and your spouse, maybe you do it together, maybe you do it separately, but if you just say okay, I just need my holy hour. This is my dream date holy hour. I do it once a year, and I do it during Advent, and I'm going to go to my favorite chapel or my whatever, wherever, my favorite space to pray. And I'm just going to talk to God about all the things. We're just going to convene, and we're going to just chat about all the dreams, the goals, see what he has to say. Just let him surprise me and let him tell me what his thoughts are. And so that might be an idea if you're looking for either something extra or just, okay, I didn't have a plan, but now I want to do something. That might be fun.
That's a great idea. I think I'm going to have to steal that one. I really like that. Yeah, and like you said earlier, when you take the things to the Lord, you never know what he's going to say. Give him that space to listen and receive all that you're worrying about and hoping for, and see where he's going to take you.
Oh, yeah, I definitely love that. I have not done a dream date with God. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. And so I think the Holy Spirit's, hey, come talk to me too. Katie, well, before we leave our listeners to begin their preparations to decide maybe what they would like to do for Advent or start decorating, whatever that looks like, do you have any just maybe encouragement for that person who maybe like me, maybe it wants to find that silence or wants to slow down a little bit more during Advent? What might you tell someone who doesn't have a whole lot planned but wants to do something?
I think I would just encourage you that the Lord sees your desire to make space for him, and he is not being like, oh man, you didn't start on the first day, so I'm not going to receive this. He's just so ready to be there and be present to you any moments or scraps of time that you have. So I don't think you should let not having a big plan get in the way of just saying hi to him. Just pop by the chapel on your way home from work today, or say a prayer during your commute, or just whatever time you have to give him. He's just so ready to say hi.
That's encouraging to me. So I know that will be encouraging to the community. Listeners, we're so grateful for you. On behalf of the whole team, Katie and I wish you a blessed Advent and a Merry Christmas soon. You'll hear from us a few more times before Christmas on the podcast here. But we would love to hear what you're doing. What are your favorite traditions? And how do you enter into Advent? I think it's so good that we can help each other and give each other ideas on how to be more present to Christ and each other during this beautiful liturgical season. Katie, thanks so much for joining me on this episode and sharing a little bit about your Advent with Matthew.
Oh yeah, it was so fun. Thank you.
We will see you all next time on the Springs in the Desert podcast. See ya. Thank you so much for joining us for this Springs in the Desert podcast episode. We would be so grateful if you took a minute to rate and review us so that we can reach more listeners. Don't forget to check out our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram, and go to our website, springsinthedesert.org, where you can sign up for our newsletter and community prayer list, read our blog, and register for virtual and in-person events. Most importantly, remember that God loves you so much, and so do we.